Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet for episode 26. It is August 13th, 2023, and this is part 5. Now, people who are super members of DSPReacts get the opportunity to ask me some questions, which I'll answer at the beginning of this part every week. This week, we have 2 different people who ask questions, so let's get right to them, and then we'll get back to our member submissions for videos to react to. Okay, first question. Excuse me. Hey, Phil. So a few weeks ago, you mentioned that you were okay with people donating to churches if they feel like they get something out of it. It's kind of similar to how people would donate to you, being a content creator, because they feel like they're getting something out of your content. Even though there's pastors that make 7 figures of money, do you think that churches need to pay taxes? So I don't know what on earth the first 2 sentences had anything to do with anything, because you could completely ignore that, right? The real question here is, should churches pay taxes? All right. My opinion, the answer is yes. Yes, yes, yes. I don't understand the whole idea behind religious groups getting tax exempt status in the United States. Tax exempt should be for something that is meant to be completely charity. So, for example, if someone is running an organization that the entire purpose of the organization is to gather funding that will then be redistributed out to the public, I don't know, Toys for Tots or something like that, right? You're donating toys, the toys are going to go right to kids, and the only money that's actually used is to pay the people working for Toys for Tots. That's it. That should be maybe tax exempt. That I can understand. But organized religion is not charity. They do practice charity as part of their organization, some of them anyway, but I don't see why organized religion gets away with the tax exempt status. Especially when you, like you mentioned, there's people who are involved in organized religion that make money, that benefit directly from the supposedly charitable donations that people are giving. Can I give you an example? You'll be interested in hearing this one, okay? Here's what happened in my actual church that I went to when I was a kid. I went to a church, it was a Roman Catholic church, and there was someone who was a pastor, I forgot his name at this point, but he was in supposedly his 30s, okay? So he's the pastor of the church, and everyone was actually, it's controversial that the pastor of the church would be this young, because usually a pastor would be much older, like someone in their 50s or 60s, and this guy was the leader of the church. He was the one in charge of this church, and he was only in his 30s, okay? So the church was successful. The church was, everything was going well. And all of a sudden, one day we hear the pastor is gone, completely gone. It was probably 2 years after this guy had been a pastor of the church. Okay. The pastor's gone. What happened? The church said nothing. They didn't want to speak of it, what was going on. So come to find out, when people actually dug up some evidence of what actually had happened, here's the true story of what happened. The pastor took the money that was going to the church, and he used it to build himself a personal gym. He had all kinds of personal home workout equipment that he had taken the donations to the church and bought with that money. And he had made this big workout room where he was doing all this stuff. And then come to find out, he was sleeping with one of the parishioners. Yes, he actually got into a romantic relationship with one of the women who attended the church. And he was using the money to pay for their relationship. He was taking them out on dates. He was going on trips with her. And all this was finally reported and discovered. And they reported it to the diocese. And the diocese investigated and found that it was true. And they basically kicked him out of the church. He was excommunicated. He was completely thrown out, right? Now, you may argue, all right, this is the exemption to the rule, right? But the thing is, there is absolutely no one tracking every single contribution that goes in to any of these organizations. You think that the government is sitting there fully auditing the funds that go to the church or go to any of these non-profit, full-time organized religions? No. So they are likely getting away with so much that you're not aware of. You're giving your money to this organized religion, and there is no accounting for what actually happens with that money. right? Now, we many weeks ago watched a video about how some of these preachers claim to be healers and claim to do things that everyone knows they're not doing. But we argued, is it fair that if people still want to give them their money because they feel like they're getting something out of it? I mean, arguably, it's kind of like what would they say, buyer beware? You have to be smarter than the scam, right? So if you actually believe these guys are healers, you're an idiot. But if maybe going to that religion and actually getting some inspiration out of the words that person says or whatever, right? And you're getting something out of it and you want to donate to that religion, fine. You know, if you're getting something positive out of it, you want to give back, why not? Right? As long as you're aware of what's going on and you're not being fooled by some kind of a scam, correct? But should that organized religion be tax exempt? Why? Is that church, is that preacher giving back everything to people? No. We already said some of these people are making 7 figures. They've got private jets. They've got giant mansions. Why are they not paying taxes on that money? I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe originally when they created the tax law, it made sense. But what's happened is people have found, just like everything in life, people found a way to abuse it. How do I take this thing that was well-intentioned and corrupt it and twist it into something that I can personally benefit from? So, if anything, I mean, maybe there should be incredibly strict limitations on what could be considered a tax-exempt status when it comes to something like that. And there should actually be people who are auditing the income to make sure that the income that goes to organized religion actually is going to profitable things and not, oh, the guy bought a gym for himself. This guy's a fucking filthy rich asshole with 5 cars and a mansion and a jet. That is ridiculous. Why on earth are they exempt? Essentially what they've done, they found a way to make a profitable business. That's fine. But you pay your taxes like everybody else. It's bullshit. I don't think that they should be tax exempt in any way, shape, or form. That's my take. You can disagree, that's okay. I think that these organizations absolutely should be paying taxes unless they want to be fully transparent with the government about where all of their money goes. Then maybe they can get the tax exempt status. But how many of those 7-figure preachers would poof up and vanish if they actually had to have accountability for the money, right? So there you go. That's my take, okay? We have one more question for this week. What do I think about Singapore's Independence Day now that I watched all those videos for the private patron react and the highlight that we watched in today's episode? You know, in general, we kind of already touched upon it when we watched that, but I will essentially summarize my thoughts here for you guys. The way I see it, and again, I only know from very limited exposure that I've had to Singapore and its culture and its government. So certainly I'm only talking as someone who has limited information. But from what I've seen, okay, from what I've seen, that government is incredibly strict, and yes, it will restrict some of the freedoms of its citizens. But its citizens seem to be okay with that because they say, well, we don't have violent crime. We don't have people stealing, people causing, giant crimes, no one attacking each other, no one's, hijacking things, taking over buses, no one's robbing banks. Literally, that doesn't exist. You don't have firearms in Singapore. They're not allowed. If someone were to do a crime like that, like literally they showed in their show of force that I saw, they're like, okay, this bus got hijacked, right? And so here's how we would deal with it. They drive up in their armored vehicle, they get out, they execute the driver. The guy gets out with a gun, they execute him right on the spot. They're all dead. They actually blew the side of the fucking bus open. They just blew it up. And then they got the people out, and that was the end, right? So you can't fuck around. There's no incarceration. There's no rehabilitation. It's you did the crime, you're done. That's it. And because it's that kind of everything or nothing mentality there, they don't have the crime that we have here in the United States. But I think a lot of people would look at that and say, holy shit, that's absolutely ridiculous to have that kind of a consequence for a bad choice in life, right? Because, for example, if you walk down the street and you're found littering in Singapore, you get arrested, you're incarcerated, you're fined, and in extreme cases, you could get actual physical punishment, like being caned or beaten. Like, that's what you get. That's for littering. I threw something on the ground, you get fucked up. Okay? Now, is that better or worse than what we have in the United States? Again, I said this earlier today. That's subjective. Some people might say, I think it's better, because in the United States, crime is so rampant, everyone gets away with everything, there's no consequence, and life is chaotic and crazy and unsafe, and we hate it. Other people might be like, well, where I live, there's not that much crime, you know, so I think that's extreme. I would never want that. I think that we should all have personal freedoms, and we should have the opportunity to make a mistake and recover from it, and not have extreme punishments. So it's a completely subjective take, you know. Here in Washington State, crime has gotten exponentially worse in the last 3 to 4 years. We've got rampant thieves. Everywhere you go, they're shoplifting. They're doing awful things. You know, for example, I'm not kidding. This happened to me. Back in June, someone stole the entire tire assembly off of my vehicle. It was parked in a public place at a local mall. Someone took my car, pushed it up on a jack, and stole the entire tire off of my car and left the car like that. I then, out of pocket, had to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get it replaced. I filed a police report, and the police did not even opt to investigate. They just left it alone. Why? Because our laws are so different. The police have limitations on what they can do. They're likely out there investigating so many other extreme crimes, violent crimes, murders, shootings, gang-related things, drug things, that the stolen tire is nothing to them. So I get screwed. I lost hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, and I will never get any follow-up and no protection against that. How messed up is that, right? If that happened in Singapore, the Singaporean government probably not only would have investigated, they would have had a team of people investigating the video footage, surveillance, finding the person, arresting the person, permanently incarcerating them for years and years, insane amounts of punishment to make sure they never do anything like that ever again. So what's better, right? We can all sit here and we can argue either way. You know, make it your own reasoning. But, you know, in Singapore, is everything as democratic and free as it is in the United States? No, it is not. You will sacrifice personal freedoms to get to that level of control, correct? Lawfulness, right? Where is the perfect balance? I don't know. I don't know where the perfect balance is. Certainly, I think it should be better than what we have in the United States, but do you think that people should just be publicly executed for committing a crime? I mean, you know, I don't know. Somewhere in the middle, right? I guess. So, you know, there you go. I mean, my take is, certainly, they have a better control over their country with the way that they have that military force and the way that they do things with their police. At the same time, you know, at what level do you say that the personal freedoms have been too much sacrificed, right? I don't know. Certainly I don't live there. And the thing is, what I've seen is kind of propaganda. I've seen propaganda videos about, you know, how they celebrate their National Independence Day, how their military operates, and that's all well and good, but I haven't heard anything from the other side of the fence. Are there stories of people who say, the government here is way too strict, it's ridiculous, we don't like it, here's why we think we should reform it? I haven't heard that side. When you only hear one side, you can only have a one-sided take, right? You only hear the good, not the bad. Here in the United States, there's people who say good and bad all the time, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Q&A for the week. Thank you to everyone supporting the channel as a member, and super members, thank you for those questions. Let's move on to more videos. Let's see what people have next for us. Here we go.
Stuff, but I think we can all agree we would rather take the $500K than have a dinner with Jay-Z. Can we agree on that? Bro, oh my gosh, but you're just trying to be different. You're just trying to fucking be different. You're just trying to be different, man.
I'm taking the dinner with Jay-Z, bro.
Why?
I feel like I can make $500K easier than I can get a dinner with Jay-Z. And Jay-Z, the connections I can make, I really want to speak to Kanye.
Okay, just because you have a dinner with him doesn't mean he's going to fuck with you. Doesn't mean he's going to follow up with you.
That's true. But I'm willing to take that risk. Sometimes, like, it's a gamble. And if I can get a conversation with Kanye from Jay-Z, then I can sign a deal with Parler. Then I can go get those connections, and I can start talking to him about
All right, so this guy's a complete fucking idiot. Let's go to the next video. He's a complete moron. One bite with TV page view. We've done this before. This is the pizza review place, right? Pizza reviews. Bridgeport, Connecticut. Holy shit. Look. Bridgeport, Connecticut. This is from where I used to live, but it was built in 2016. So this was after I left, which is why I'm not aware of what this is. It's called Brewport. Okay, Brewport. He's going to review their pizza. I've never heard of this place before because it didn't exist when I lived there.
All right, pizza review time. We're at Bridgeport, Brewport. It's kind of like a mind fuck with your brain there. A tongue twister, I believe is what they call it. Bridgeport, Brewport, Pizza and Beer. Huge place on the inside. All the breweries generally are cool, new. I'm not sure how long this place has been here.
This is 2016 right on it.
This is number 3 on our tour. Lightbox. That usually bolts.
So he's in Connecticut right now, 2 months ago. This was very, very recent. Okay.
Well, I have a sneeze coming. No, you know, I don't even tell how that's just the worst. I lost it. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Oh. I wasn't expecting it to look like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's almost like that is a, and by the way, we're on the shadow. We're knocking on the door of New Haven. That's like a New Haven looking kind of slice.
It is.
Interesting.
It's thin, though.
Good undercarriage.
That's way too thin.
I didn't know what to expect from breweries and pizza. I feel like are going together a lot. I think there's one in Minnesota I liked. Very good. I mean, it is very good. 8-3. It's not what I think generally when I think pizza, but listen, this looks
to
great.
me. So here's the deal: the cheese looks correct, but it looks like it doesn't have nearly enough sauce because it's too thin. That pizza is so, like you said, the pizza's light. It's way too light. That's like a cracker thin crust. It's gonna taste good, but it's gonna be too light and crispy and not have the authentic flavor because it's not gonna have the sauce that it needs because they made it too thin.
Look how thin it is.
See?
You can get a paper cut with that. I love it. This has like a New Haven flair to it. The char.
Has char on the edge, yep.
A little thinner than a traditional New Haven. But it has that char taste bowling around my mouth, dancing, singing from the rooftops. I'm gonna go.
He loves it.
Wow.
Too thin for me.
I was expecting it. Listen, I know when it was so light when I picked up the
Remember I
box.
told you guys Connecticut pizza is so good? There's so many places in Connecticut that have good pizza. If you ever want amazing pizza, you've got to go to Connecticut. It has some of the best pizza in the world. It's so ridiculously good.
I'm like, maybe we do have something. I looked at it, I'm like, we definitely have something. When I tasted it, I knew we had something. 8-1? And if anything, that's low.
8-1.
What a great spot to get some beers and eat pizza. Look how thin and crispy. Good call. I'm glad we did it. This tour, man. I don't know how I'm going to eat all this pizza, but this is great. Great stuff. 8-1. Great score.
There you go. And that's new. That's a new place that didn't exist when I lived there. I bet if he were to rate the place I grew up, Vinny's, he'd probably give it like a 6 or 7, I bet. Because Vinny's, it has more sauce, it's thicker and more doughy, but at the same time, it's a little bit greasy. He'd probably say it's too greasy, and he'd probably give it like a 6 or 7, I bet. New Haven pizza is a little bit more with the char and the thinner crust, so I think he likes that more, and he'd rate that higher. So, okay, let's continue.
Dr. Lewis, how's it going today?
I've been better.
Why, what's wrong?
You ever get one of those patients that you're really rooting for and then things just kind of go south?
Worst part of the job, man.
I got this kid, right? 8 years old. I've been his pediatrician since day one, and, you know, he's a tough kid. He gets leukemia at age 4. He fights through it. He bounces back. Tough kid, right? Then, last year, he gets a lung infection. They gotta go in, operate. While they're doing it, he needs a blood transfusion. They give it to him. Turns out the batch is contaminated. I just find out today this kid's got AIDS.
He's got children's AIDS?
No, he's got regular grown-up AIDS. He's got AIDS. He's got AIDS.
Oh.
Anyway, so I have to walk in there, look him in the eye, look at his parents, and tell him this. I don't know if I can do this.
Well, call Dr. Kyle.
Dr. Kyle?
Kyle doesn't give a fuck.
Really?
Dr. Kyle! Yeah, Dr. Kyle will tell your kid he's got AIDS. He does that kind of shit all the time. He doesn't care.
Yeah, what?
Lewis has got a kid in there with AIDS, and he don't want to tell him.
Oh, I'll tell him. Where is he?
He's in 2B.
Well, hey, hey, how are you gonna break it to him?
What do you mean break it to him?
How are you gonna tell him?
Just gonna go in and say you got AIDS, kid, then bounce.
Excuse me. You know, it's gonna be devastating to that kid and his family.
Yeah, AIDS sucks.
Okay, right, but I mean, do you think maybe there's a way we could soften the blow for him?
Okay,
Yeah?
I got
He's
you.
gonna do something
What are you
stupid. Watch.
Oh,
Hey, tough break, kid. You got AIDS. Here's a peppermint.
Wow. They're like, what the fuck? Alright, admittedly, that was kind of funny. That was pretty funny. What is this? Crazy GTA 5 ragdolls with Spider-Man? 5 minutes long. What's he gonna do? Throw their bodies off the edges? Look how stupid this is. What are they hammering? This is incredibly stupid.
How are you?
Is Spider-Man gonna do something? Let's watch Spider-Man jump. This is stupid. Can we follow the camera with Spider-Man?
Hey. I've got places to crush, people to eat.
Is this all it is? Seriously? What's this? A shark? What the fuck is this stupid video?
Hi there.
Oh my god, this is the dumbest video I've ever seen.
How are you?
How are you feeling? See ya.
Okay, on to the next video.
Hi, I'm Tara, and welcome to Game Station 2.0.
What is this? Game Station 2.0? What? Oh, this has got to be a joke. Look. It is.
Batman Arkham City was developed by Rocksteady Studios and released in October of 2011 by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. The game features the voices of Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy reprising their roles as the Joker and Batman from the 90s cartoon show Batman the Animated Series. I love Mario Kart. Well, let's see what Rich Evans thinks about Batman Arkham City as we head over to the Game Station.
I love Mario Kart, but this is supposed to be a parody. It must not be serious, right? It's a joke. It's a joke show where they're pretending like they're going to do a serious review, but it's supposed to be like poorly done, stupid. Ow!
Arkham City.
Ow, what the fuck?
Batman Arkham City is the newish game from Rocksteady Studios and the sequel to the highly acclaimed Arkham Asylum. When it comes to the gameplay, Arkham City is really two games. A fighting game where Batman takes on dozens of enemies at a time, and a silent predator stealth game where Batman silently eliminates armed foes one by one. The combat is unique and is built around the concept of fighting a large group of enemies all at once. It tends to feel more like a rhythm game rather than a standard button mashing brawler. Combat has improved since the first game, and Batman has more moves and a few new gadgets added to his arsenal, making the...
Okay, it's a serious review. I don't really want to watch a serious review of Arkham Asylum. Is there comedy here?
quite so well in a game that was obviously designed around the concept of multi-fold battle royales. In a Batman game, I don't want a boss fight with Ra's al Ghul's thugs. I want a good one-on-one duel with Ra's alone. Hello.
Evans, Rich, Unit 603, Idiots. I will be your overseer. I'm currently assigned to Unit 4, subsection 600 through 609. I will monitor your progress.
Oh, okay. Thank you for explaining the premise.
What are you currently working on, Mr. Evans?
I was kind of right in the middle of a review for Arkham City, and, well, you kind of interrupted me.
I'll interrupt you when I deem necessary, and as frequently as I deem necessary. Do you understand me?
Yeah. Asshole.
What did you call me?
I said, have a very nice day, sir. And then I called you an asshole? The stealth sections are great, and have the Dark Knight quietly, or not so quietly, taking out armed thugs.
So it's a real review with some comedy interjected here and there. I don't really care about the real review.
Arkham City about Batman?
I'm sorry, that you want to know if the game called Batman Arkham City is about Batman?
Yes.
He's clearly featured on the screen. Of course this is about Batman.
Thank you.
Overall, Arkham City is a great...
Wow. This is not funny.
Pod. I have to go now.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh my God! It's dangerous engine exhaust fumes! Oh my God, it's slowly coming at me.
Wow. Anyway, guys, we have one more video left for the week. Thank you for watching DSP versus the Internet. I mean, there's no commentary to this have. These are not very good. Like, right? Like, this was that was terrible. That wasn't funny at all. What was that? That was an attempt at being funny while reviewing the game? It failed. It wasn't funny. All right. Thank you, guys. We've got one part left on this week's episode of DSP versus the Internet. I hope you will join me for part 6. In the meantime, thanks for watching. See you soon.